Linda and Harry Thomason were friends of mine at the time. And how I got to be friends with them goes back to Dukes of Hazzard. I did an actress on the Dukes of Hazzard named Bobby Ferguson, and we became friends. And so consequently I became kind of friendly with Linda and Harry. And when they were going to do Designing Women, Bobby said, oh, get Judy. And they said, oh, yes, great, we get Judy. And so I did the pilot for that. And the other thing is that I already knew Delta Burke because I had done a series very early in my career called The Chisholms. And she was one of the actresses on The Chisholms, and we became friendly. And we knew each other when this thing happened. And an odd thing happened on Designing Women. Harry decided he was going to assign who was going to do whose hair. And he had somebody else doing Delta's hair. And Delta stomped off to her trailer and said, I'm going to do my own hair. Judy can't do my hair, I'm going to do my own hair. So I went to her and I said, don't worry, I'll do it. So I ended up doing 3 out of 4 of the women for most of the time. And then things kind of over the period of time, things switched around. And at first I was doing Dixie and Jean and Delta. And then I ended up with Jean and Annie, just Jean and Annie, and the other hairdresser did Delta because I left to do a picture, and when I came back, Delta wouldn't speak to me. So then, so I just ended up with Jean and Annie, and the other hairdresser had been doing Annie, and now she was doing somebody else. It all changed around, but it was an interesting thing. Linda is an incredibly talented writer, and in the very beginning, that show almost didn't make it. And they organized a write-in campaign from fans. And the fans wrote in enough that the network kept it on the air. And sad to say, I hold the only Emmy that show ever got. And I was quite upset the next year when they went to the Emmy broadcast and they were asked to be presenters and made this snide remark about they could only win an Emmy for hair. I was upset about that. It was a period piece of the show.
The episode you won for?
It was a dream sequence, a 40s dream sequence or something. And so I hold the only Emmy that show got. So I'm glad about that now. They knew their characters. Mm-hmm. They knew their character. I think Annie started out with kind of short hair, but by the time the show was over, she had her hair long and curly. And Delta wanted big hair, and Dixie never knew what she wanted. And Jean's hair was very fine, but she had a hair like me. Her hair was just the same texture as mine, so we always knew, her hair was just the easiest of everybody for me. But they all had input for their characters. We would go to work about 2 in the afternoon, and they would rehearse for a while, and then we would do hair and have dinner, and then then we'd touch up and go, and then start the show. So I don't think I think they took longer in makeup than they did in hair. Dixie was a little bit more unsure about how she wanted her hair than the rest. Jean knew how she wanted her hair and just did it. Delta wasn't really overly insecure about her hair. So I think everybody, we didn't keep anybody waiting. We were pretty good.